I stopped setting my husband's alarm. He missed his own performance review. So for about 6 years now, I have been the alarm in our house. Not a metaphor. Dan's phone goes off at 6:15 and he silences it in his sleep, like his thumb knows how to do it without him. So at 6:30 I'd shake his shoulder. At 6:45 I'd do it again. At 7 a.m. I'd stand in the doorway saying his name until he actually sat up. Then I'd go down and make his coffee in the tall travel mug, because he says the short one leaks. I work from home doing billing for a dental group. My shift starts at 8, his starts at 8:30, and he drives 25 minutes. So the math has never really worked out in my favor. But I was up anyway, so whatever. That's what I told myself for 6 years. I did ask him once, back in like March, if he could set a second alarm across the room. He goes, "Why? You're already awake." I said, "Yeah, but I'm working by then." He said, "It takes you what, 2 seconds?" And honestly, at the time I let it go, because it kind of does take 2 seconds. Then in June his company moved to hybrid and he started doing his Tuesday calls from the kitchen table. I was upstairs with my headset on, muted between claims, and I could hear him through the floor because he talks like the person on the other end is underwater. He was doing the small talk part with a guy named Rob. Rob asked how he manages to get in before everybody, and Dan laughed and said, "Honestly, I have a system." Rob said, "What's the system?" And Dan said, "Her." They both thought that was hilarious. Then he said the other part. I'm not gonna type it out exactly because I don't want to hear it in my head again, but it was about how he doesn't really have to be a functioning adult before 8 a.m. because he outsourced it, and how it's the one thing I'm good at. The one thing, I didn't come downstairs. I didn't say anything at dinner. He asked why I was quiet, and I said I had a headache, and he got me the ibuprofen from the cabinet, which credit where it's due. That night I got into bed and I didn't set the reminder on my phone. That's the whole thing I stopped doing. There's a reminder that goes off on mine at 6:28 that says D, and I deleted it. Wednesday he woke up at 7:10 on his own and rushed and made it. Didn't mention it. Thursday, 6:55, he made it. Friday, 7:20, and he was annoyed, but he made it. He kept looking at me like he was waiting for me to say something about it, and I just kept typing. Monday was the review. I knew it was Monday. He'd been talking about it since April, because it was the one where they were finally supposed to talk about the senior title and the number that comes with it. It was at 9 a.m., sharp, with his director and someone from HR who flew in. He woke up at 8:40. I heard it happen. The bed, the drawers, him saying my name like a question from the hallway. He came into my office half-dressed, holding one shoe, and said, "Why didn't you get me up?" I took my headset off. I said, "I don't do that anymore." He said, "Since when?" "Since June." He said, "You could have told me." I said, "You could have set an alarm." He said the thing about how I did it on purpose, how I sabotaged him, how I knew exactly what today was, and I let him sleep through it out of spite. He was doing his belt while he said it, hopping a little. I said, "I didn't do anything. That's the part you're mad about." He said, "This is my career, Megan. This isn't the same as forgetting to buy milk." And I said, "I know. It's not milk. It's the one thing I'm good at." He stopped moving, just stood there in the doorway with the one shoe. He goes, "You heard that." I said, "Rob's very funny." He tried to say it was a joke, that everybody jokes about their wives, that I was taking a 2-second thing and turning it into a hole. And then he checked his phone and it was 8:52 and he had to go. And he was still saying it while he was going down the stairs. And I heard him say from the front door, "So that's it? You just let me fail?" And I said, "You woke yourself up 3 days in a row. You didn't fail. You just did it without me and nobody clapped." He has 2 alarms on his phone now and he still asks me every morning if I heard them go off.